Buenos nachos, amigos, and welcome to Hallyujuku podcast about East Asian pop culture from a couple guys from the East Coast of the United States. I'm Petey Rave, your man with way too many plans. I don't know, and no execution. Way too many aspirations, but no execution. I'm joined, of course, as always, by my tag team partner, my partner in crime, my right-hand man to my left-hand side, Brandon Cooper, a.k.a. King Kaz. How you doing, Kaz?
I am doing well. How are you, Petey?
I'm doing good. Doing well. And I'm doing good, by gum. I just can't say it. It's been fun. E3 just came around, so we saw a bunch of press conferences and stuff.
Bro, it's been a whirlwind weekend here in the States for just a little bit of everything. So we have the Electronic Game Expo. If that's something you pay attention to, you were paying attention to that. We had two giant sporting events come to an end. The finals of the hockey season, as well as the finals of the basketball season. With if you care, two teams winning. A team each winning. So if you care about either of those teams, Toronto or St. Louis, you're a happy camper. If you're in the Boston area, you're sad. You should be sad.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I will say a lot of really fun stuff. I've been watching Giant Bomb's coverage of E3 and their nightly interview stuff, and part of that is that they are a purveyor of they use for their interstitial music. They are proficient with their usage of Audio Network's music library, which royalty-free music. And I found out something that I should have realized was a thing, but I found out it was a thing. There's royalty-free K-pop out there. There's some royalty-free ass K-pop out there on the Audio Network. And by royalty-free, I mean, to be honest, by royalty-free K-pop, I mean a white dude who does royalty-free music. Got a Korean person
put together
to
a K-pop beat.
No, got a Korean put together an EDM beat. Got a Korean to come in and translate the lyrics and sing it. But still,
it's out there.
There's a royalty free version of essentially Blackpink's Whistle that they played during that show, and it was it was fantastic and horrifying to hear at the same time. But that's neither here nor there. We're not talking about royalty free K-pop. We're talking about royalty heavy K-pop, the regular K-pop.
Good old normal K-pop,
garden variety K-pop. Kaz, we're talking about what's new. What we've caught our attention since we last gathered, because it was a bit. What's new? What's caught your attention?
So there's a lot of things that caught my attention. It has been the week of, do you remember blank? With a lot of people making comebacks or just doing things. There's a new Skull track if you're into that. Go check that out.
Good for him.
But I digress. I'm going to start with the boys from Teen Top. Who I've heard some of their stuff. I enjoy some of their stuff. I like some of the stuff from the boys over at Teen Top. And this one is actually it's mediocre. I'm not gonna hyper praise it, but I think it's done well. I think it's done really, really well. And I think if you're a fan of Teen Top, this is definitely a really good track.
Yeah. I think this is a good track. I think it's well made. I will say this is the kind of song that when I was listening to previously mentioned royalty-free K-pop, one of the songs made me realize there's some generic ass music that I bop to. This one, kind of. I think it works well. It's a little middle of the road, but it's solid.
Yeah, no, it's solid. Like I like it. You can jam to it. And I think a lot of people really enjoyed Teen Top's last album. And this is coming on their new album called Dear 9. We always talk about sometimes those opening tracks could be hit or miss. Those opening singles that you put out can be very hit or miss. So I kind of want to see what the next couple of singles are going to be like, because I always think that thing sticks to be true. The opening single is always hit or miss. You're either talking to your lifelongs or you're trying to gain new people.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, solid stuff. Moving forward to something completely different.
Moving forward to my anytime I get a chance to feature my boy Jay Park. And this one is Jay Park and Hit Boy with a song called K-Town. Because Jay Park is just going to put out all the music he can before his retirement. But I like this song. It's short. It's literally 2 minutes. But it's fun. It is this is Jay Park that we were always talking about. Like there's multiple versions of Jay Park. This is just fun, braggadocious Jay Park. And I love fun, braggadocious Ratchet. Yeah.
Ratchet.
I love
lit.
And there's a feature by my boy, God damn it, who's in this video?
Dumbfounded Parker.
Dumbfounded is in this video, yes.
Boy Parker.
Yeah. Just repping. So I love it.
Well, I mean, it would have been good if you would have, dropped an 8 in there, but that would be fine. But I like that he was in the video. maybe on the album he could drop a 16, maybe. Yeah, it is fun. It is a fun song. It is definitely Ratchet Jay Park. It is him, like it's him going full Chris Brown. Without the domestic abuse, but it is full. He is the full realization of his status as the Korean version of the R&B guy who's around enough rappers to basically now consider himself a rapper. Like that has been his thing for years. Similar to other people who I probably shouldn't name anymore. And why I wanted him to replace those people. But I think it works. It's fun. It's not always my style. It's not always something I vibe with, but it's fun in a silly way. It's good schlocky fun.
Yeah. All right, so for my last one this week, talking about comebacks, this is just a track full of comebacks. You got Urban Zapaka with a song called Soul Night featuring Benzino. And if that sounds familiar, it's because they had a song called, I think, Thursday Night or Friday Night that was Urban Zapaka and Benzino. This is a very, very chill track. Like, it's so chill. It's so vibe. And it's kind of fun. It's dope.
It's cool. It's a chill track. It's Urban Zacapa. Like they have a sound. They have a song. They have a sound. They have an approach. They have a demographic and a niche that they fill, which is the classic. They are the ultimate coffee shop ballad people. And it works well.
Them and IU.
Them and IU and a bunch of other people. There's like we can, if y'all want to go down to some names that you don't talk about in K-pop but are those groups, we talk about some like Car the Garden and Urban Zacapa and fucking all these other groups that are always on the top of the charts. Look at the top of the Korean charts and see some of those Korean names that you don't recognize. It's probably one of these groups. MC the Max, like these kind of groups. But they have a sound, and I think it's it's similar to what I said, like with even J Park, even though it's a completely different song style. It's not always my thing. It's a little for me. I'm not always in the mood to sit with an americano and a way too and a cake some Korean coffee shop owner wants to call bread. Like,
but you gotta see, this track is like at the end of a long drive down a coast. Like driving down the coast, you play some more like high tempo or some ratchet shit. And then once you get to your destination and you park and you're just there looking at the ocean, this is the song you want.
Yeah. So I think, in those circumstances, I think it works well. And I like it for that. And it's a quality track on that regard.
Yeah.
That being said, going into some of my tracks, what I've been checking out, I have quite a few things here and there. Some good, some not so good. Like, there's some solid stuff like out there. The aforementioned the royalty free K-pop, which is just still fascinating to me. And video game stuff. But I'm going to feature a couple of things, a solo artist, a girl group, and an indie band. I'm going to do my whole trifecta of what I always do. A full house. I'm going to refeature the newest track by former member of Evil, who has been kind of laying a foundation for a cool career for herself. Say. Mm-hmm. With two A's, who I've talked about before a couple times. I think a couple times, but not enough, because I think that album was one that came out in that year. It never got featured, but it was an album that I thought was actually really fantastic. The album classic, and the songs were on it were really great. It just never ended up in the right time and right place for me to kind of feature those tracks. But now she's back with a new song called ZG or Ziggy Ziggy. And it's fun. It is cool. It has a really cool vibe to it. It has a solid kind of drop-ish hook moment in the kind of post chorus. It is well tailored to kind of Say's style and personality, the performances, the choreo is really cool, and the performance aspect is really cool. The personality of the song is really cool, and I don't know, it's a really cool, solid track. And I'm glad Say is kind of setting things up for being one of those groups that was had potential and then just fell apart, and then now she's okay, well, let me do my thing. And she's been doing her thing.
It's always awesome when people are allowed to have that chance, and then they show well, and it just shows that sometimes that normal K-pop format doesn't always work.
Yeah. But what do you think? What do you think of the track?
It reminded me of kind of late 2000s, kind of American female pop.
Yeah.
But because that stuff was kind of good. I think a lot of it got more whatever than it should have, and this definitely reminds me of that, right? There's kind of these breakdowns in it, but it's all of this very powerful female vocal stuff that's really fun.
Yeah. I think there are parts of it that definitely are influenced a little bit by different artists, in particular I think of Boa and a couple of things, not full on, but there's certain touches, I think, especially with the inclusion of that dance breakdown, which I think is not necessarily Boa level, but but what is but it was solid, and it's a really cool moment. But yeah, speaking of girl groups out there trying to make it, CLC. Mm-hmm. They already had a comeback this year, but I guess Cube has decided to continue feeding the fans because they came out with a new digital single called "Me," and it is really cool. It is really solid. It is following in the footsteps of like what No did, where it's like it's them like at their confident like the confident style. It's very very well made. It's very the instrumental is really cool. It reminds me. It's very much harkening back to say 4 Minutes Hate, aka the Skrillex track, but where that one kind of like felt a little disjointed and the drop kind of like, as much as I like that song, it feels a little like, all right, it has its issues. It uses that same like what I called back then the fart trumpet. It uses that same like effect, but it brings in a melody to offset it, and it doesn't. And when you get to the hook, it kind of puts it to the background, doesn't let it overpower the hook, and only brings it back when it's necessary. And then it's still like it has an underlying melody that kind of keeps it from overwhelming the track. And I think it's just like a whole lot better version of like that. Like so
no, I can see that. I can feel that.
Yeah, but what did you think of the song?
Like I think when that drop first hits, it's a little awkward because it's very unexpected from everything else. But I think after you hear it and you hear those things that you talked about, right? It's not overpowering any of the vocal, right? It just kind of stands on its own, and then it drops out whenever vocal comes up. I think you come to appreciate that, especially in comparison to that, like you said, to that 4 minute Skrillex track or some of these other ones we've gotten from like these EDM DJs who like were asked to make a track and then they kind of made the vocals fit. This seems like this was well thought out. Like this definitely feels like it was, if anything, it was at least mixed well.
Yeah.
And also, just shout out to the subtitles for whoever did these to put the names for the individual members when they're up or whatever. Like, I like when people put that effort in.
Yeah, that's always really cool. Like, also, like, the Cube does a really good job of opening up, letting fans do subtitles and things like that and translations, which is cool because on the video, not only do you have English subtitles, but you have everything from Chinese to French to Korean to Norwegian to Portuguese to Romanian, Thai, of course, Vietnamese, Turkish. So it's just, solid fan contribution. It was really cool. But yeah, CLC still killing it. I'm so glad for this kind of turn in their career, at least musically. All right, so that was a solo artist in the girl group. Now for the band, I guess an indie band in a sense. It's the band from, again, another K-pop artist. It's another track from the group that it holds as one of the members, Baekhyun, she of 15 and at this one formerly of 15 and but still at JYP. She, the group is the Volunteers. They came out with a new song. It was released a little while ago, just kind of been away, but just a couple weeks ago. But it's a song called Radio, or at least a music video for it. It was just released. I think it was concurrent. Radio, and it's very much still still the style that was from the previous tracks that they released on their SoundCloud. I think it's very much still that 90s, like post grunge, grungy, like college rock sound. There's there's a sound that her voice, her vocals are very much like going for a specific sound, a specific artist, like almost a little bit like the lead singer of the Cranberries in a sense, or like a lot of female singers around that time. Like there's harkening back to that, and I think it's well made.
It's not as like poppy, but it has like kind of a in the vocals. It has like an Evanescence kind of sound. For anybody that can go that far back, but it kind of has like that feel to it, and I like it. I do like it's not always the thing I seek out, much like you said with the J Park thing or some of the other tracks. It's like it's not something you always seek out, but sometimes when you hear it and it's good, you can vibe to it, and that's definitely something I get here. Like it's not always the thing I'm going for, but man, like I'm hearing this and I'm like, it kind of does take me back to like when I listened to you and enjoyed grunge music a lot more, and I'm like, I like this.
Yeah, and it's well made. It's like it's slow, it's very moody, but it's really cool. It's very like lo-fi and wanting to kind of aspire to a lo-fi sound, which is really nice. I will say, look, it definitely has a big improvement, I think, overall in the mixing and the vocal mixing over the previous tracks. I think it's a lot nicer in that regard, and I'm hoping that's like the future of what she does with this band, with this group. I'm looking forward. I'm kind of like, I don't want to be presumptuous, but I'm almost seeing like there's the finish line for her. Let's say, I don't know. Let me look at 15and's debut date. I'm pretty sure they definitely debuted in 2012, which means you can do the math of the contract years. You know, all contracts are 7 years because that's the max. And I think it was like November, December, like somewhere around there. October. So, depending on when she signed her actual contract, who knows? Maybe sometime in October, or maybe even a little bit before, she'll get to just full on just make the volunteers the thing she does, which is fascinating to think, because this will be coming off of also releasing music for under JYP that topped the charts for continuously all throughout Korea, but just as a solo artist. But that was definitely not this sound. It was the sound that was prescribed to her. So it's like, it'd be fascinating to think it'd be cool to kind of see her like, okay, that was good, I did that for you, now let me do my actual thing that I want to do. Like, which is I'm hoping that she gets to do that, because I think she has a vision for this that I'm looking forward to hearing in maybe like a full album format that she might be able to do once she's actually independent.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting. Sometimes these things take time, especially when you're on these bigger labels. We know how that kind of tends to go sometimes.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it for what's new. We shift our attention over to some topics over on our headlines. So join us on the flip side now. Here. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our headline segment here on the Hallyujuku show. Let's get down to it. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty, the real nitty-gritty. So in the further fashion of us skirting around the big elephant in the room, we kind of like bite off a piece that we can bite off. So some shit went down in Clay class, and by Clay class I mean YG. And some shit, I mean drudged up accusations from a couple years ago against Icon's BI. He, of course, being one of their principal rappers and their principal songwriter and creator. So there's a lot of articles to sift through, but the main thing to kind of look over on all this was in 2016, BI allegedly contacted A. I think early on we found out there was reports they were simply known as A. Had conversations on acquiring some of the devil's lettuce, the weed, some weed and some marijuanas, and some LSD. Not to bury the lead, but some fun drugs, some good times. And there was a exchange, there was conversations, and the police got wind of it, but nothing, basically nothing turned out. In conversations, there was conversations of release and investigations on the fact that BI admitted to using, and acquiring and purchasing these drugs from A. Which is one thing. We'll preface this by saying that I believe both of us are pretty chill on all recreational drug use, and we're pro legalization. But this is going to be not a conversation about that, and more about the next step.
I think this has to be framed too, because so whatever your issue, whatever your personal issue is with drugs, right? That's one thing, right? When it comes to wherever you live's representation of the law when it comes to drugs is always the key factor, right?
Yeah.
So no matter how I feel, no matter how PD feels, no matter how you feel as a person, none of that matters. It's all based on what is the law. As we know, because we've talked about it with multiple different people on this show, in Korea, drugs are just bad. They're bad, right?
Drugs are bad.
Across the board, they're bad. And
at least legally speaking.
Yeah. Legally speaking, it's bad. So one, there's the marijuana, which people hum and ha about whenever anybody in Korea is mixed with that. Yeah. Then you add in LSD, so you have two illicit drugs that you have in that factor. That's it, right? Bad. You're gonna be deemed as bad. You're gonna lose out. And then now you enter the connecting pieces of this, which is what then makes this more than us just going, another person was caught with weed.
Yeah. Because we'll talk about our feelings on that later. But there's more. It turned into, okay, what happened to these charges? What happened to these discussions with the police? And again, this is not to get into the weeds of not into the weeds of what is the bigger issue, because this is tangentially connected to YG's involvement with certain issues, and as a company or an artist connected with the whole Burning Mocha issue, which is coming down to this big company and this big baller, this big deep pocket, influencing police investigations into them and their artists and things like that. A big part of this is the fact that there was discussion of how did the police investigate or not investigate this based off of their findings, how much this person's the dealer, their testimony, how much of that was influenced by YG himself, because one of the big things is that they said that they accused YG of doing is of forcing forcing A, who eventually was revealed to be Han Seo-hee, which is people will remember as she of I Hugged and Kissed Your Oppa's fame. Also the former paramour of Top, and connected with that whole thing. The fact that they pressured her into changing her testimony, to which YG denied but admitted to, like in their denial, because what they admitted they denied was, we didn't influence her testimony. She had her facts wrong. We simply met with her to correct her statement. So it was like, wait, so she made a statement, you met with her, and she changed her statement. So you say that, and you admit to tampering with the witness, huh? So no, so we corrected. It's like
so. This
is why lawyers say don't say anything.
Let's break this down on a macro, right? So, and we paint a picture as to why this particular thing has kind of been the straw, right? You have all these things that either YG himself or his artist have done that then YG the company, right, their lawyers, their people have then had to clean up, right? And there's a laundry list of things. And I think the thing is YG himself involvement in this, as well as the thing that is going on with Seungri, right? And the reason we paint the high mark picture of, by the standards of Korean law, drugs are bad. But by the standard of all the things that happen in Seungri's case, those things are bad, right? In the Korean landscape and law, those things are really bad. And that just puts a black marker on YG at this point, right? Because having these two things come so close together, and then probably having things fall apart because people at this point probably can't keep their facts, and if you're not watching the video version of this, I put air quotes on the words facts, straight at this point, because there's so much shit that you are creating rhetoric for. Whoever your guy is on the inside that has this, of the police that you probably are paying, and this is all like, I'm not saying any of this is true. This just falls out into this type of situation, and we've seen situations like this fall out in the music industry and other industries in America so much in the past couple of years in America that you can almost, and I'm not, you can almost speak fact to it. So you probably have a guy on the inside who is your guy that your lawyers or whoever is paying to, when shit happens, you're like, hey, give us copies of X, Y, and Z so we can learn how to market this and media handle this, and get ahead of those things. Because remember, if you're a long tail person of this show, and whenever we talk about drama, one of my favorite things to say is, got to get ahead of that.
Yeah.
Right? You gotta get ahead of it. If you write the copy, you win, right? Because you wrote history.
Yeah.
But there's only so many times you can do that.
Yeah.
There's only so many times you get that red pen to write history.
Yeah. So the big thing is, and I'll read this verbatim just so it's not just me recapping, paraphrasing. The initial dispatch report also included the suspicion that Young Hyun Suk might have influenced A's testimony. A initially said that they had delivered LSD to BI in front of Icon's dorm in May 2016. When questioned by the police again, however, A changed their testimony to say that while they had discussed the possible purchase of drugs, they did not actually obtain any drugs for BI. In YG Entertainment's response to dispatch, the company stated that A had lied about BI actually receiving drugs and that Young Hyun Suk had met with A only to correct their testimony.
Yeah.
So you admit to tampering the witness. So you changed your testimony.
It's hard, right? Because that's the rhetoric of trying to correct history, but there are too many facts already out in the wild. So you try to corral because you didn't get ahead of it because you're probably too busy trying to get ahead of this other thing, which has now led to BI.
And I will say the other thing is that YG also hired a lawyer for A. Maybe help her continue to remember her statement and make sure that she doesn't forget it. Obviously, keep it corrected. But yeah, like you were about to say.
So that leads to this thing, and we'll have all this stuff in the show notes, and you can go kind of read through it and follow the links and go deeper if you would like. But I've only gone so deep. I normally go way deeper into these things, but I only went so deep. Because a lot of it is just, it is what it is at face value. So, obviously, BI is going to lose a lot of public interest.
He's already left Icon. He's already left YG.
Yeah, so he's going to leave Icon. He's going to step down from his duties there. There's other reports that he's going to be edited out of variety shows.
I mean, he filmed an entire season of Law of the Jungle. Now they're going to have to Chris Benoit his ass.
Yeah, that's
all over some weed. And you forget, like, it's one of those things like, oh yeah, this is like, and I know this is a touchy subject anytime you want to compare Korea to Japan, but I'm going to say this is probably a little bit similar to a kind of a baby version of what Japan does with people who are caught with drugs. Like, for example, I forget his name, but Pierre, the Japanese voice actor, I'm gonna Google Japanese voice actor cocaine.
While you look up that, so like that long tail then hurts a lot of things.
Pierre
right?
Taki.
Pierre
Taki was. He's gonna be edited out of the Yakuza game. It's a game where the voice actors get motion performance captured and scanned into the game.
Which is okay. That's a whole other can of, like, you're gonna edit a guy out of a game where you're, all right, nope, not touching it. I'm gonna stay on topic. Stay on topic. Don't let that whale get you. Don't Captain Ahab. So this hurts a lot of things for YG very specifically as a company, right? Let's stick to that factor. YG as a company loses a big face in BI, amidst all the other faces they've recently lost. And then with the announcement that YG, the person and the face of your company, the literal face of your company,
and a hell of a face it is.
And his brother are also going to be stepping down, which
his brother kind of being the CEO. Brother is the CEO, so that and honestly, his brother is the CEO, so that YG isn't the CEO.
Yeah,
without being so that YG doesn't have to be the CEO, and doesn't have to actually be accountable to shareholders like the CEO would.
Yeah. But I more mean is this so now here is where I start to ask questions, and here is where we theorize and come to the long tail, right? Does YG and his brother stepping down, is that a save of face because they have been at the heads and the forefront of a lot of the bad media. So you make it look like, oh, we're stepping down. We haven't been able to corral these young talents and help them rise. We have only been at the forefront of their fall.
Yeah.
Is it stepping down to save face, but then you still puppet master, or is this legitimately like you said, the shareholders being like, you motherfuckers need to leave before we all lose all of our money?
Yeah. It's hard because here's the thing. Yeah. So they're stepping. Mr. Papa YG himself and his brother are stepping up from their spots, and kind of like resigning, leaving the company. But the YG himself is still the biggest shareholder. I think he has like 17-something% share in the company, and his brother is not that far behind him. So essentially, you have what you almost would, in all logical sense, consider a single entity holding 20-something, close to 30% of, close to 30-something%, not close to 30% of the shares of the company. I'm not saying it's absolutely they're gonna be puppet masters behind the scenes, but that's where the cynic in me would assume it's like, okay, they're stepping down, but there's going to be a periodic email coming from a fresh new email address, a completely anonymous email address about some directions of the company and things they want happening that will get emailed back. And maybe, I don't know, I don't know how these things run. Maybe, at every meeting there's a phone on the table that's open on an open call. Nobody talks about. At that meeting, nobody acknowledges, that goes somebody's on the phone.
Now here comes the wider perspective, right? Is this the camel for fandoms of YG?
You never know.
Or is this the straw to that camel? Is the analogy I'm trying to make?
I don't know. I don't know if this is enough. I don't know if all of that was before was enough. If this is enough. Mm-hmm. If it's just like, oh, maybe they'll galvanize and say, actually, they fixed everything. And they'll convince themselves that they fixed everything, and now there's going to be new leadership.
Okay, hold on. Wait. I'm going to paint a picture for you, right? This is more of a Welt bit than a Hallyujuku bit, but I'm going to paint a picture for you. We're coming up on a time very soon, right? Where the boys from Big Bang, the rest of the boys from Big Bang, are done with their military service.
Yeah.
And then I say a plaque is presented to GD, and GD is now the new head of YG Entertainment. Yeah. Is that the heel turn there? Is that the face turn, I mean, right? Because right now we're in heel... I'm bringing in wrestling just to sell this to PD, right? We're in heel territory for YG, right? Yes. They are Vince McMahon level 100 right now, right?
Oh,
is this the face turn?
Yeah. Because I've said... I've even told, because I've had conversations with our mutual co-host and friend, one David Majors, where he wanted to get a little insight about YG in particular when we had our Lee High episode. I think we even talked about it on the show, where he was like, "Oh, well, how do you feel about the YG guy?" Because I may have put in quite a bit of saltiness about YG in the episode. And I did very much say that I feel a lot. I would say almost the same about YG as I feel about Vince McMahon. Like, like except for like maybe I could attribute more provable racism to Vince McMahon. Like, but see that only is replaced by okay, I can have provable racism I can ascribe to Vince McMahon, where I can have more provable, let's say, romantic manipulation and predatory behavior to YG.
Yeah.
But that I know of those two things, I would not be surprised of the other one possessing it. Just one can only be proven on one or the other. But yeah, like this would be like Vince. Let's say Vince and let's say Shane McMahon stepping down, but Shane doesn't have that much of a job. But that'd be like Vince, and you know what? Because he's basically like his little baby brother, anyways. Like Vince and Kevin Dunn left the company because I think they're the two characters down there. They left the company. We're stepping down because you know. Let's. I'm hoping this is true. Let's say after the XFL debuts and fails even worse than the AAF, because it will. And I'm gonna be laughing the entire way. And they did realize, oh, we made a mistake. They stepped down. It's like it would be a big moment. But it just depends. Who from YG is going to be who is the Triple H? that situation.
This is what I'm saying. It's GD. The dream factor in that would be you hand that CEO plaque to GD.
Yeah,
and then, like, because I think even at that point, I almost subscribe to the kayfabe there, and I'm like, oh my, this is the move we needed. This is the savior.
Yeah.
Like knowing exactly what bullshit that is and what bullshit that means, and like how that works. And there'd be something in the back of my brain that would just pop and infect the rest of my brain, and it's logic to be like, yeah, no, that works.
Yes. Like, oh my god,
I'm like, well, I'd be like, oh, GD will bring back 2NE1. He'll save the world. He'll save everything.
I don't know. Like, I mean, other than possibly using this as a clickbait headline, for the YouTube SEO, because fuck yeah, GD as the new CEO would be a fascinating idea, or at the very least. We can look at it like this. GD could be the Triple H and maybe not become the CEO. And maybe somebody like but he could be what YG was specifically. Or even better, like I think even that he could be the head of creative. like YG was. Like and then, like, I don't know, make God damn it, if this wasn't all centered around Cindy. Fucking, why did Cindy have to fuck up like that? Because his reality is fuck him, he's an asshole, fuck, he can be canceled. But the character he used to portray would have been perfect for that position for CEO. I don't know, Daesung. Anyway, Daesung is CEO. With GD as head of creative.
But see, Daesung's had his drama, and they had him for fucking years. You know what I mean? Like, so it's
fuck it. YG as CEO, as a new mentality with the CEO, and the little dude from Actung Musician as the head of creative. There you go.
All right, let's go to the next one.
Yeah, let's move on from YG for now. Let's get to the next one. All right, so Monsta X has been doing... Yeah. This is from a little while ago, but I still thought it was worth... from a couple weeks ago, but I still thought it was worth bringing up just because this is a really cool thing. Monsta X has officially joined Epic Records. Monsta X kind of I'll just go ahead and read the article from Billboard. Monsta X K-pop boy band Monsta X has entered a new era by signing with Epic Records. The act announced today. The Korean septet signed with the Los Angeles-based label for their English language recordings and worldwide distributions, excluding South Korea, of course. We are thrilled to join the Epic family alongside some of the artists we admire the most. This is like a dream come true, and we still can't believe that this is happening to us. We thank our fandom, Monbebe, enough for their. We can't thank our Monbebe enough for their endless support and for making everything possible, said Monsta X in a statement. The entire group said in a statement. So everything you heard there, just imagine all of them saying in unison. The news follows the start of the group's 2019 We Are Here World Tour, which began in Seoul last month, and we'll see them perform in 17 more cities throughout Asia, Europe, North and South America, and Australia.
So this just leads more into the thing that I think we've been talking about for years, which is the K-pop inclusion in American pop. We've always known it was coming. There was never a time where it wasn't going to happen. It was just always how it was going to happen. I do find it funny now that something we have pushed the rhetoric of so much was the crossover of K-pop and hip hop, right? We like I would love to go back. I wish we had the wherewithal to go back and like look at old episodes and just make little snippets to be like, yo, K-pop and hip hop. When that happens, that'll be the crossover. Like, and just blast that on Twitter and everyone's faces right now. Because like that is literally the rhetoric everybody else is talking about right now. And now we're getting to this point where that crossover is starting to happen on a number of fronts, right? Yeah. People are starting to build, to take the TCG realm, they're starting to build decks, right? People are looking at and coming to the realization of how they want to and how they're going to build these decks for these things to work, right? We're seeing a lot of K-pop artists do songs with either really popular SoundCloud artists or really popular hip-hop artists. Some are good, some are bad. That's just going to be a thing. And then we're starting to see this inclusion of record labels scrambling to try to get ahead of the curve, right? We're having record labels try to get ahead of the curve of what is going to be a really big explosion of K-pop predominantly in the US, right? Because K-pop is already pretty incestuous in other places. We've talked about how much K-pop has an influence in kind of Korean media, has an influence in like Latin culture and other cultures and stuff like that. But it's that infestation of the US that has been the hardest to translate. The fandoms have kind of garnered, but it's always been hard to make that full twist.
Of course, as people will know, if you because it's weird because how many do people out there really think about what labels people are on anymore in American music?
I think to some degree, I think there. I think it matters in the micro. I don't think it matters in the big picture like it used to. I don't think it's like I don't think it's like that draft day prospect anymore. The twist of Jay Park signing with fucking like Rock Nation was a in that moment it was like, oh shit. But it didn't tailor out to anything because like so many people are all over the place now in American music. I think if it was late 2000s, 90s where like all the artists were on Def Jam, all of these artists were on Death Row, all these artists were on fucking whatever.
Or like when Snoop Dogg joined No Limit.
Yeah.
Weird. Still weird.
I think we're past that, but at the same time, these record labels, I think it's more the record labels trying to get to the fandoms before these independent artists are jumping on this too, right? We're in this realm where these giant record labels have to fight for the same viability against independent artists getting on a track with a K-pop artist, right? Like, because that that becomes a double blast, right? You get the K-pop artist with the chance to pop in America, and you get this independent artist with more of a chance to pop because they did a song with a K-pop artist, right? But we're in this moment where it's all fluff and there's not a lot of genuineness to it, right? And then everybody is gonna have this moment where they were like, I was the first, you know what I mean? Like I fucking in the year 1982, I was the first person who did a song with a K-pop artist. You know, like we're just
Kanye did that one song that where like the A Girl was A Girl back in the day. Yeah, I think it was Kanye did that featuring on A Girl. I think it was TVXQ.
Yeah.
Or Snoop Dogg being on that remix of The Boys by Girls' Generation.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing Snoop Dogg again. JYJ.
It's one of those, JYJ. It's just one of those things where everybody's looking for that, right? So in this, in this, Epic wants to be like, we signed one of the best, K-pop groups in the world, you know what I mean? Like, or third best. I love Monsta X, but you're not BTS right now.
No, there's BTS. Oh, no BTS. Oh, hey, you guys. Like, you guys turned on. Oh, hey, I'll take you guys. Come on. Yeah. Like, and hey, they're showing up to be that, and it's working out for them.
Yeah, no, I think Monsta X is a great grab. I think Monsta X is a great headline. Like, I think they do that, but it's all of this doesn't mean anything because none of it tends to mean anything if you don't do anything after it.
Yeah. They're a great get because they have a fandom, they have a clout, but they do not have a set in stone definitive identity, if we're being honest. They're a really good hip hop influenced monster, a boy band. They're not like BTS is BTS. Like they're not like this group has a baggage. You can they're a great get because they're a K-pop group with some clout and it's a name that you've heard, but you can kind of mold it. Like you can take it. Okay.
Like we always talk about like for those who hate to hear it, right, and why BTS has kind of become the mile marker. Fucking BTS did it from the ground up, right? They did everything, right? They did American tours when they were nobody, right? They fucking
back when we remember being at Anime Central and seeing, and I'm not to say that they were nobodies back then, but they had clout and they I imagine that was a sold out show, but we would go by that concert venue, we would see the sign for that concert tour when they were coming by Chicago or Rosemont, Illinois, and we were like, it's BTS.
Yeah. And that's that thing, right? Because it was a surprise to us because BTS was still relatively new then, but that's that shit that got them there, right? That's that shit that got American fans at that time who were interested in K-pop to be like, oh, here's K-pop right here, right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so all these higher mile marker things, it's all about what you do after, right? It's all about what you do after you grab the headline. It's all, you got a headline on Billboard that Epic signed Monsta X. And then you throw in all these names. DJ Khaled, 21 Savage. Cool, great. What are you doing? Yeah. like unless you're doing shit, it don't mean a fucking thing. Like BTS is on the mile where they can sit back a little bit now and watch how the landscape falls out behind them, because every headline they get is based on something they've done or are doing. Right, the Barbie headline is because they're making things to sell, right? And then those things came out, and that garnered more headlines because, good or bad, there was a thing. The pops, the American tours, the world tours, the working with this artist, the doing a song, like throwing Nicki Minaj on a song that you already had out that banged. You know what I mean? Like throwing this artist on already made tracks. You know what I mean? Doing songs with Steve Aoki, which Monsta X has also done. But there's always a thing to then their grab from BTS. You know what I mean? And like that's why BTS does it better than most other people have, because there's always an X factor.
I think hopefully it'll work out well for them. I think
I want to see Monsta X succeed. I want to see like the whole thing is I want to see everybody succeed, but it's all in what you're doing, right? I love what Jay Park has been doing right now. I love the fact that he was making a song in Korean and then doing it in English with then English rappers on it. Like I may not have liked every person he put on those songs, but goddamn if that's not the fucking move. You know what I mean?
And we'll have to see what will be the move. I think the easy stuff is there. It's obviously because this is going to be for like their English language music. What do you put out? Would you put out just translated tracks? Do you put out new collaborations? Do you?
Yeah.
So how much of that? How much of the research are you willing to put into that? Do you do
whatever the easiest thing is first, right? So. And you do whatever grabs attention, right? So you take your hottest tracks and you do those in English, right? Boom. Right? Yeah. Put out a bunch of singles, get your ass on the radio, and then from there, go down that list of motherfuckers that are on the Epic label, right? Get DJ Khaled to fucking produce a track with Monsta X on it, right? Is that going to be my favorite track in the fucking world? Probably not, because I hate DJ Khaled. But is that something that then creates more headlines for Epic and for Monsta X and then for DJ Khaled, who will then also push that because that's putting food and money in his pocket? Yes. You know what I mean? Like go for the easy markers first, right? Don't try to high value shit. Just do something though. That can come out quick.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with Monsta X and Epic Records. But yeah. One more article. I think we'll talk about some big moves that are happening in the idol world. So one of the big things that and not just in music or in other in other facets, I think especially sports, in television, all of these things. There's a great word people aspire to. It's a great title. People aspire to. People aspire to be the GOAT. Greatest of all times. They want to be the GOAT. Somebody wants to be the GOAT. Whether LeBron is the GOAT or whether Michael Jordan is the GOAT, or whether Michael Jackson is the GOAT of music, despite the bad things. Whether somebody's the GOAT of music, somebody's the GOAT of sports. And we might get our answer of who is the GOAT of Japanese idol music. A goat. A goat added as official member to Japanese idol group. An idol's got to do what an idol's goat to do, as the article says. Japanese idol groups come in all shapes and sizes, like the group who quote unquote fell from heaven. and the Okinawan idol group whose average age was 84 years old. It seems that anything is possible with idol groups, but even we couldn't foresee this. Chocolate Bomb, an idol group managed by Johnny's Entertainment, of all people, announced that their new and limited...
the fans, the commenters on this article are very specific that they are not managed by Johnny's Entertainment.
Oh, yeah. Allegedly, at least according to this article, announced that their new and limited time member, Shidopen, would be featured on their upcoming single, Love Me Do Doki ni Mo Icha Dame, due to be released on June 24th. However, Shidopen isn't your average member. He's not even human. You probably guessed by the title already, but he's actually a goat. Even the members have got goat ears on. Shidopen's addition to the single is his own Billy Goat voice acting. If you want to hear it for yourself, you'll have to attend the group shows.
So this is one of those things. Japanese, like the Japanese idol market is literally like PR stunts after PR stunts. Like they mentioned the group that was all 84-year-old women, or in the 48verse, the different versions of groups. Ones was like older idols, not like 84-year-old women, but things like that, or all groups that were boys who cross-dressed. Like, it's always just some kind of PR thing. It's always like you're just trying to grab as many goddamn headlines in Japan as you can. Like this is just a PR stunt, because like they said, it's a limited time thing. It's to try to get this group out into front of the eyes of as many people as possible, to just get whatever attention you can.
Yeah. Apparently like just in the comments, this room is not managed by they're managed by Dare Demo Dream, not Johnny's.
Mm-hmm.
Which is okay. So it's on Soda News 24 to report on the facts. We'll just report on what they said, because now we're just podcast. But regardless of what label it is, it's a PR stunt. It's fun. I can definitely understand the fun of it, but yeah, it is definitely like we have to get some attention somehow, because there's a lot of idol groups, and you got to get people. You got to get. I was going to say butts and seats, but those theaters generally don't have seats. I mean, probably not the smaller ones that these perform at.
Yeah.
But got to get them in the door somehow. And
I was trying to think of it, right? I was trying to think of how to put this, right? And Japanese idol groups are sideshows.
Yeah.
Like they're literally like 1800s style sideshows, right? There's a tent in the street, and you are trying to do whatever you can to get people to buy a $5 ticket. You know what I mean? Like, so you're like, I got the prettiest girls. Oh, okay, cool. I'll come see that. Oh, hey, that guy, he has the prettiest girl. I've got the prettiest boys. Oh, all right. Well, that sounds interesting. I'll go see that. You're like, I have a group that is made of all girls who pretend to be mannequins. Well, that sounds interesting. Let me, shanty over there. And, it just turns into that, to the point where you go, I got a group that has a goat. And you're like, what? Oh, shit, I need to see this. You know what I mean? Like, at some point, like, in the future, there's going to be, like, a K-pop group that's all cats. Like, not a K-pop, but a J-pop group that it's just cats.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it'll happen, because it's a fucking sideshow.
Yeah. So look forward to that. June 24th is when that single comes out. We'll all be stay tuned. And on pins and needles waiting.
I also feel like maybe somebody at that management label just saw the Taylor Swift meme. Like just saw it.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh shit, yeah, we can bank on this if we put a goat in our group. And then they're gonna find out, like, oh, that was years ago. The fuck?
Yeah.
God, gotta check the dates on those tweets.
Yeah, I can't help it. Yeah, Japan, the Galapagos. It is that Galapagos Island effect. Yeah, Japan, keep doing your thing.
Oh yeah, no, it's amazing. I can't wait to visit Japan. I hope this is still a thing whenever we get a chance to go. Whenever we save the pennies to be able to fly across the ocean and go to Japan, I want this to still be a goddamn thing, so I can go watch a goat perform J-pop.
Yes. Oh yeah. No, we will be hitting up as many of those idol theaters as we can. If we can get to a 48th, that'd be great. That's the pinnacle. I know that probably those tickets are probably going to be hard to come by.
You're gonna have to wrestle a man and his dog, and that's just stage one.
Yeah. But we'll see. Well, there's plenty of groups to check out there. We'll look forward to that. But that's it for us. That brings us to the end of another fantastic episode of Hallyujuku. Kaz, what's going on? What's going on in your world?
I would say sports odds and ends, but we've been on a kind of a hiatus for a little bit. But I think the boys are going to be doing an episode very soon on all the stuff that I talked about at the top of the show: the finals of the NBA, the finals of the hockey, women's soccer is on the rise because it's the Women's World Cup, and USA embarrassed a team, so that's something to talk about. And I think France is going to be pretty strong because I don't know what they're feeding those people in France, but goddamn, they're good at soccer. So if you want to hear about that stuff from two of my good friends, DJM and JBZ, go check out sports. I've eaten a lot of croissants, and I ain't that good at kicking a ball. Go check out sportsoddsanends.com, where you can hear more of that, as well as the DKG Welt podcast, dkgtv.com, where me and my friend try to make you laugh on the internet.
Yeah. And go check all that out. He's at King Kaz. I'm at PD Rave everywhere. The show is Hallyujuku. Hallyujuku.com or kpoppodcast.com or jpoppodcast.com as well.
Well, didn't I tell you? Don't you know?
We don't do that much J-pop, but we still use that URL just because we'll do more. We'll try to touch on it more, but like we always say. But those are the URLs. Rebelli.net for listening to the shows. Rebelli TV on YouTube. You can find us everywhere you find podcasts.
Straight, Doctor.
Apple Podcasts, almost said iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify.
Give it to me straight, Doctor.
Do all the things. Subscribe, like, share, give us reviews, do all the things. Until next time.
Why, I think you're crazy.
Hasta los huevos. Fighting.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.